Curtis A reached out to me, said make a theme song for my show. Said alright, just give me all the details, man. And my homie says he don't know. Well, if you're gonna pay me big bucks, cause I might should have something to say. He said, you know what I bring, I'm the customizing king, nothing else matters anyway. So is he gonna have guests? Is he gonna go live? I don't know. What time will it be? What will you see? I'm pretty much in the dark, but I can guarantee you'll be customizing action figures, getting paint all on his fingers. It's art by Akerman. It's art by Akerman. Tips and tricks and conversation, sharing his gift with every nation. It's art by Akerman. Art by Akerman. You best get ready, cause now it's time for Art by Akerman.
Got to take off the overlay. Welcome back, folks. This is another episode of How They Do That. Hope you're pumped. That music always gets me pumped. And speaking of that music, a huge shout out to Jeremy DeWitt, who does that theme song. Does a lot of theme songs for the community. He is very talented. He actually has an album out right now on Spotify. It's called Echoes, Another Path. And you want to check that out because he is very talented. It's a great album. Man, love that dude. So yeah, go check that out and show him some love. But tonight we're going to talk to another artist in the community, and this one's a little bit different. We've had some Dio folks on here. We've had some people that paint and sculpt and things like that. We've got something a little bit different here tonight. Got somebody that's doing a little something for the Legions community that's a little special, and it's available at certain shows throughout the year that you can find. So without further ado, let me bring him on. I've got Dusty Standiford of Dang Studios. What's up, Dusty?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be here.
Same, man. I'm glad to have you. So we're going to talk a little bit about a couple coloring books tonight. This whole Cabal Creations movement, which is kind of picked up and sizzled and picked up, and it's kind of, it's out there. Sometimes you'll see people using it, but we definitely would like to put some more energy into it. So I'd like to make some people aware of what you're doing if they're not, and if they are already aware, just kind of give them some more insight on how this all came to be. So sound good?
Oh yeah, I'm down.
Beautiful. All right. Well, let me pull up the slideshow. This is one of my favorite parts, is like putting together the initial screenshot of the slideshow. And I think this one might have been one of my favorites. So what do you think?
Awesome. Oh boy.
I'm like, let me put this jacked photo of Dusty in here, and
the healthy me that Angie fell in love with.
There you go. And then I used the Necronominus for the photo on here. You've got a lot of great pictures in these coloring books. But obviously Necronominus is shipping right now. It's at the forefront of everybody's head. And I got to say, I spent the morning working on some coloring with my wife, with Darla.
Yay!
And I got to say, there's some detail that you get in these, and we'll kind of cover it as we go through, that as I'm sitting here working on it, I'm like, oh, crap, I didn't even know that was there. And then like I compare it to the figure, and it's very accurate. So like looking at something like this with the Necronominus, like you see all those individual bones and the ornate details and stuff. Like you do a really good job of capturing all those little things. And a lot of these you were drawing before they were ever out, like that you had seen the reveals, you had the photography of it, but you didn't even have them in hand. And I think you did a really good job capturing the details for not having them in hand.
Right. Well, that was kind of my whole purpose or idea of doing it was my appreciation for the sculpting. And I wanted to make those drawings as close to the figures as a tribute to the horsemen for their artwork. It was their artwork and my appreciation of their artwork that inspired me to do these. And I wanted to do justice for, for those figures.
Well, I mean,
those figures.
Yeah, you killed it because, like I said, I was coloring some of these. I'll show a couple later on. I mean, my coloring skills are not what they used to be, but I will say, like, even as a customizer, as I was doing it, like, and I was seeing like the individual details and stuff, I go, man, I kind of want to paint up this figure now. Like, it was making me want to customize because of how it was coming across as I was coloring it. So, maybe something, I know we get a lot of folks that are customizers that are watching this channel, maybe something that, hey, if you're stuck kind of creatively and you're not really sure what to do, grab one of these pages out of here, tear it out. It's okay. It's okay to tear it out. Right. Right. Okay.
Make a Xerox of it.
Yeah, tear it out and go ahead and go to town. And who knows, you may come up with a different color pattern or something else that, that you like, wow, I really like that. Now I want to paint that and make it come to life. So,
yeah.
So this here, I love this one. Actually, let me move us over to this side. Let me see, because I love this one with the Santa Claus, and he's got like the 4 horsemen there and the little troll up on the shelf. Like, that thing's just super cool. Like, you did a really good job of painting like the different horsemen and stuff. So
drawing. Fun. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that one. I was off work for a few days due to the holidays and everything. Mm-hmm. And, it was cold and couldn't really do anything. So I found myself picking up the tablet, and I wanted to do something for Christmas, but I didn't want to just do another what I call a hero pose of Father Christmas or whatever. So
right,
I actually have a painting that I put up at Christmas time of Santa Claus sitting in a workshop painting wooden toys.
Yeah.
So that's where I got the idea. So yeah, so it just kind of played out like that, Well, but I had a lot of fun with that one.
I love it. I think that's awesome. So, and then we've got Attila over here, the newer version. And man, just such a good job on the shield and the weapon and just all the details. It's like you really captured a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
Is it difficult? I know, like, some areas, like, you've got some shading and some dark areas, like knowing how far to go with it. Like, obviously you want people to be able to color this in and make it their own, but you also want to make it look, fairly realistic. You want to, kind of have some depth to it. Like, is it kind of difficult to know where to stop on some of these?
Yeah, it really is. And, when I first sent the initial, images to the printing company, they were like, hey man, there's a lot of gray and stuff in these. I know you're making a coloring book. You might want to leave these options up to the person coloring. They were really like, you should make these a little more plain, for the coloring book. And I was like, yeah, the community I'm making this for, a lot of these guys are artists. And I wanted to make something that would, like, if they wanted to rip this page out of a coloring book, stick it in a frame and hang it on their wall, it would look good. And if they wanted to color it, I did some of the shading and stuff for them. It makes it a little easier. And I'm a black and gray artist. Yeah. I never could afford high-end markers or paint or anything like that growing up. So with me, it was always ink pens and pencils. So I did a lot of black and gray,
See,
so that's my wheelhouse.
So I'm working on these with Darla today, and I will say sometimes it was nice when there was white space, and then other times it was like, oh crap, I wouldn't have thought to put shadow there, but since it's on here now, I know like that area needs to be darker because you can still color over it. Like,
right.
We were using color pencils, and if you're using the same pressure and same, whatever, like those shaded areas that you've done do darken it up a bit as you're adding color and everything.
Right.
Plus it also indicates to you where you may want to use a little bit like a darker, color or whatever. So
yeah,
I thought that was very helpful because, sometimes like, I know like painting figures, you're always trying to figure out, okay, where's light going to hit on this, and where would there naturally be shadows? And you've kind of done some of that work on several of these for us. So it does help. But then there's other ones where they are, you know, pretty much just an outline drawing, and you give us more of the area. So I think there's a lot of, you know, whichever style people like, I think there's something in there for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. I tried to mix it up, you know, some of the more higher detailed, and a lot of it came down to how much time I had.
Right.
You know, the first book was kind of a rush project. I had 2 or 3 drawings done when I had the idea. And then it was like, okay, well, if I want to do a substantial contribution to the community in the form of a coloring book, I'm going to need to have 30 drawings done. And I gave myself, I think I got 27 drawings done in a matter of like 5 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so in that
cooking.
First book, there's a lot of just really simple drawings of the figures. In the second book, I spent a little more time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like on here, you can see, you know, the one in the middle, the Alithia, you know, a little more white space, you know, a lot of room to kind of do what you need to. The other two have, you know, some backgrounds that you've put in, and like, heck, that Atlas one, you got basically like a whole army behind him, kind of like a shadow army. Like, so yeah, it's, you know, there's if people want the kind of more simple, I just want the character and I want to be able to do it and you know, all my own, you do have those pages in there like the Alithia. And if somebody wants more of that extra background detail and want it to be an entire kind of something that fills the entire frame, like we said, if they were going to put it on the wall, that you've got those in there as well.
Yes. And sometimes I go a little too far, and you know, like with that Atlas, I was drawing stuff that, you know, with the ghost army behind him and stuff, I was just like, man, this is cool. Let me see what I can do with this.
Yeah.
And then you get into it a little too long and your eyes start getting tired, and then you're like, I might have went too far with that one. You know,
I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool. First of all, just to look through, like, it's just a cool book in general, just to have and look through. But then when you start, you know, trying to put some color to these, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I had a relaxing day today, just playing around with this. So,
well, and you know, I wanted to contribute to the community and be a part of the community and have something to offer. And, you know, I've never really been much of a painter. So, and I can't really afford to be much of a customizer. So I can draw. And, you know, the idea of the coloring book, that's a whole nother story. But, you know, I found my little niche, and, you know, I'm the only one that's doing it. And, you know, so I'll just stay in my little wheelhouse. And because, you know, once I got into the community, I was like, man, I want to sculpt. I want to paint heads and, you know, stuff like that. And then this takes up 90% of my time anyway. So,
well, I know we talk about it a lot on a couple different shows that I'm on, but it's like, how are you having fun with your toys, right? And it's, for some people, it's posing and kind of putting them in dynamic poses. Some people it's photography. Some people pop and swap. Some do the, you know, the painting. And this is just your way of kind of, you know, having fun with these toys and showing them in a different medium. I think that's awesome. So,
yeah, I think I'm pretty happy in my little niche now. You know, in a 2-year time span, I think I've drawn, including the ones that nobody will probably ever see, especially in book form, I've probably drawn over 100 images.
Oh, wow.
And before I got the tablet, Angie got me a tablet for Christmas where I could do this stuff digitally. I was lucky to do 2 drawings a year.
Wow. Well,
you know, because it would just take me, you know, I'd have to set up an entire table, sit in a room by myself, you know. With my tablet, I found I was just, you know, watching TV. I get bored, and instead of picking my phone up, I'd pick up my tablet, you know, and I wouldn't have to leave the room or set up a bunch of stuff or do a bunch of cleanup afterwards. And
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for digital art, there's probably no way I could have made this happen.
Well, there you go.
I don't think I'd have taken the time or put in the effort to make it happen.
Yeah. That's cool. So I guess there's some people in the community like small guys or something. I don't know. It's like there's some folks
Small guys who like small guys.
Yeah, it's like some folks. They're not great in number, but they have loud voices and they're always, talking about these characters that are a little shorter in stature. And you've helped give them a few of these here. So tell us a little bit about these guys.
Well, two there nobody's seen yet. The Torrigan I drew for Anthony House. Yeah, I think it was Anthony Halseal I gave it to at Legions Con 23.
Cool.
Because he's one of those little guys that have a loud voice that talk about little guys all the time.
Yeah.
So I thought it appropriate to give that to him, but it was an original sketch drawing. And then of course I did it digitally also with the intent of maybe putting it in a book at some point. And then same with help me out, the one in the middle.
I think it's Jarund. Guessing.
Jordan Runeshaper. Yes,
it's some of these guys have the same parts, but it depends on the color of the armor. So without it being colored, it's hard to tell on some.
Right, yeah.
But I'm like, I think it's Jarund.
Yeah, that's him. And then cool. Bromden made it into the first book. That was one of my favorite drawings, just because of the way I captured his face and eyes, and
you got the shield up above, and kind of his little throne or something there. That's cool. Very nice. And then a couple other short guys, a little bit different, We've got some goblins here. Two of the best. I mean, people argue which one of these is the best goblin overall, but I think a case could be made for either. But yeah, both of these came out fantastic.
Yeah, these I will add to. I will probably at some point I try to attach some kind of background to them with the hopes that if I ever do make a volume 3 and go back the Mythic way, that these two will be in that book.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's some folks out there that would appreciate that, because we got a goblin contingency as well. So
yeah, it only had one in the first book, so
gotcha. And then you got to have some big guys, right?
Oh yeah.
Man, what fun is a line without big guys? And man, these are fantastic. I love that Noble Barch one is pristine. That's great. The ice troll is my favorite troll. I love that bearded head, the bearded horned head. Yep. And then I love on the Rakagor that you gave him wings. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that Rakagor almost made it into the first book, but I was getting really frustrated with his snout.
Huh. Okay.
I didn't feel like it looked right, and I redrew that snout 50 freaking times probably, and I still wasn't happy with it. And then I added wings, which of course it doesn't come with wings, so I just threw some wings on there. And at the time, when I drew that figure wasn't out, so I really didn't know what the tail looked like. So I just kind of tried to continue a pattern into that tail, and I didn't know what the tip would look like or whatever. So yeah,
I mean, it came out fantastic. I love it. Like seeing this made me go, ooh, maybe I need to find some wings for my Arakagor. And I was really shocked it didn't have wings. Yeah, it's just like I said, as a customizer, it's kind of inspiring just to look at some of these and start working on it. And it's like, we work on repainting these figures, the customizers in the community, and you're trying to pick out like which details you want to paint, right? Because the horsemen will paint something one way, and then later on, years later, they'll give us the exact same like parts, and they will paint it up a different way. They'll touch different accents with the paints. And even if they're using the same color scheme, it looks like a brand new figure. It looks like brand new tooling.
Yep.
And I think the beauty of this coloring book is you get to see those parts without color on them. So like when I look at that Noble Barch thing and I see all the little details, I go, man, what if I put some red here and I put some, black there and I put some, and you're not hampered by the color that it already is, right? It's like a perfect blank for you.
Right.
I think that's kind of cool because it allows you really just to see all the individual parts and not really focus on what color is it now versus what color I want it to be. So,
and I actually thought about that when I was making the decision on whether or not to make a coloring book.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, this would be good for, our children. If we had young children, maybe get them into the collecting toys with us, or get them into these figures with us, or whatever. And then I also thought, well, if I draw this, a customizer could try out different color schemes, before they apply paint to a $70 figure or whatever.
Yeah. And I just thought it was cool. Like I've picked up both the coloring books and I've my wife, my kids have drawn it. I've colored in it, but I've never actually thought like, hey, this may be a tool for a customizer. It was just like, hey, if you just want a relaxing day, maybe it's raining outside, maybe you need a nice indoor activity or something.
Right.
This is cool. But today I was working on the engineer from Cosmic Legions. And I was like, she's a Legion builder. She doesn't have a whole lot of color to her. Right. And so she's like mostly black with a couple red accents. But as I'm looking at it, I was like, well, there's some accents here that you could paint, and there's some accents over there that you could paint. And what if you did this with this? And, it just starts kind of opening up things in your brain. So I love that aspect of that. I
appreciate it. Yeah, that I actually put some thought into it because I was really nervous about doing this, because it was a time investment, a money investment, for me to get them printed. And I had never done anything with my art, and thank you to the Horsemen for making it okay.
Oh yeah,
to do this, but yeah, man, that I thought this would be a good tool for a customizer to, because you just pop this book open, put it in a copy machine, make 15 copies of one of these drawings, and try 15 different color schemes. Find the one you want, and then go to paint. That way, you're not painting a figure, deciding you don't like that color, stripping it down, trying to repaint it again.
I mean, if I was selling coloring books, I don't know that I'd be telling people to make copies, but hey, that's cool. Whatever.
I'm not in it for the money.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I know like, a lot of customizers, Emil Wickman's one that comes to mind. So not trying to, put anybody else down or anything, but I know Emil does this thing where if he's working on a custom, he will put the parts together that he's going to use. Right. And he'll kind of build the figure, but it'll look odd because it's just whatever colors the parts had on it. Right.
Right.
Then he'll take a picture and he'll put it into Photoshop and he'll start manipulating the colors, and he'll go, okay, what if I make this color and I make that color? And he kind of messes around with the Photoshop. And once he gets kind of an idea of what color scheme and everything he wants to go with, that's when he starts actually painting it. Right. And I think we kind of do the same thing with this. Like people could take, open up your book, take a picture of it, pull that picture into Photoshop and start adding colors and go, okay, what do I want to do? Okay, yeah, I like this. And then use that to color the picture, use it to do a custom. I think would be great. So
absolutely.
All right. What do we got next? Okay, so some figure obscura stuff. Now, did these make it in a book yet?
Not yet.
Okay, these are okay. I didn't think so because you got the Mythic one, which had a couple cosmic things at the very end as kind of like a teaser, right?
Right.
And then the cosmic book. So, but yeah, these are cool. I mean, you got the Headless Horseman there, which I know has brought a lot of people into this line. It used to be we saw a lot of people come into the line because of the Motu tributes, and now it seems like more and more it's the figure obscura. So yeah, that
Headless
cool.
Horseman figure is just it's a masterpiece.
So good.
It's an absolute masterpiece. And then they one up themselves by changing the color scheme on the retailer exclusive.
Yep. And then what's going on with this guy on the right? What's he got there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I actually didn't I send this to you like right when I got it done, and I was like, "Is this too much?"
Yeah, and I was like, "I don't know, man. It's I mean, it is the story of Krampus. I mean,
I was kind of going for like cutesy, like the kid's going to get his ass beat, But when you look at that Krampus, it's so demonic, and when you're holding a child upside down, I was like, yeah.
I do personally, I love it. Now, whether it's too much for other people, I can't say. Personally, I think it's awesome. So.
Dude, I also sent that to David Williams,
Yeah.
And I was like, is this too much? He was like, hell no, dude, that's great.
See, my thing is, I know if it doesn't offend me, but I'm not sure if it's going to offend somebody else. Right. So I can tell you it doesn't offend me. I think it's freaking hilarious, but I can't tell you who else might be offended by it, but I think it's great. So
yeah, after I set by, because when I was drawing it, I had it, as a humorous in mind.
Yeah.
But man, when you put just black and gray on a figure like Krampus, and then you throw a kid in it, even if the kid is cutesy, it was a little off-putting when I got it done. I was like, I don't know about this.
All right, next. So that was, the Figure Obscura isn't in a book yet, but the other stuff was Mythic. Then you came out with your second book, Cabal Creations Volume 2, and this is Cosmic Legions. The first one there is Slog. Now, I could tell you, I repainted a full Slog, and it took me 2 months.
Yeah.
And I know that just painting it, there was a ton of details that you don't even notice when you first just look at it in photos and everything. But as I look at your picture, those details are all there. Now, some of them, because of the size of that figure and it shrunk down to fit on a comic book page, some of them are very, very tiny, but you still got the details in there. So this one had to be a little bit of a chore.
Yeah, it was definitely a chore. And after trying to freehand draw this one 100 times, because this is my favorite Cosmic figure. Yeah, I mean, it's basically me in a space suit. So I ended up doing a technique on this one that my brother taught me, and that was grid mapping. It's what he always called it, where you actually put a grid of boxes over a picture or a photo or whatever, and then you draw each individual pixel. So you start in box 1, box 2. What do you see in box 3? And you transfer that over. And that, when you do it that way, and you realize how much freaking detail is in some of these figures, this one especially, yeah, it takes a long, long time to do it justice.
I think Darla does some of that. She does she hasn't done any sketches in a while, but she at one point was doing a lot of pencil drawings, and I think she did it that way. She would like find a picture in a magazine that she liked, and she would, rip it out, and I think she would kind of grid it out like that. And
yeah, my brother taught me that. He was real good at drawing. Like when I was growing up, he was real into like heavy metal bands and stuff like that. And I remember he had one of his drawings, and it was huge. It was probably the size of like a 24 by 36 poster.
Yeah.
And it was just of Gene Simmons' Axe base.
Oh, nice. But
it was so perfect. Like in every way, it looked like he took a black and white photo of it, And I was always mesmerized by how he did that. And that's how he did it. He gridded out a picture out of a magazine and then used his ruler and just did it straight up.
We're going to get a little off subject here because I got so this is one of hers that she did.
Wow.
So I don't know if you remember that baseball card when you were a kid.
Oh yeah,
where
it's Bo Jackson, man.
Yeah, where
Absolutely.
he had the shoulder pads on and the bat. Like, so yeah, and like I said, I think this is all with that, that method that you're talking about with the grid
Dude, I had no idea Darla could draw.
I don't think she's drawn maybe in a year or two. But yeah, she does a good job when she does. Now she's onto the capes, that's her thing now. So
yeah.
Contributing
to the community.
Yeah, this came out awesome though. Like this thing, like I said, I know just from painting these details that this has got a ton of stuff. So to be able to capture that, I mean, great job that you killed it. So
yeah, that was a lot of work.
Here's a few more cosmic ones. And man, that operative 83 in the middle,
it's one of my favorites.
That is spectacular. Because not only does it, first of all, it just looks amazing. It's a good overall picture, right? Like it's filling the whole page. You got a lot of details, a lot of stuff going on. But then if you know that this is a tribute to, Manny Faces, and you get all three looks in it, right? You get the robot look and the monster and the man, and like you get all of that in one picture. It's so good, man. You just did a great job on that.
Yeah, this one's one of my favorites. There's parts about it I don't like, but the depth effect that I've got in that clear visor on the robot helm.
Yeah.
It's probably that space right there is probably one of my favorite things I've done.
Oh, nice.
And then the lips on the human face, I bet you I redrew those things a 1,000 times, and I'm still not happy with them.
I think it looks fantastic, man. Like I think you absolutely killed it. Like this thing it's beautiful. So
and that thing on that side, this thing right here.
Yeah.
Get that off my screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not happy with that one at all.
Really? I thought it looked great.
Not at all.
I love that.
Well, you seen the one that made it into the book. Compare that one to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought this was really good. I loved it. And then the Ziri on her little rocket ship, I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, I wanted to do do backgrounds and stuff, but you can only make so many with a space window and a bridge and so I just kind of drew up a little speeder bike, type thing. I wanted to make it look like she was running because it seems like from what the bios and stuff, it's like she's always getting into trouble or something,
Well, so, if people see this on this video and they see this for the first time, I guarantee they're going to be asking somebody to make that bike for them because it is cool. I love it. So, here's some of the some other ones, man. These have a lot of detail too. You got some Ox Crew guys in here. You got I'm guessing that's the science officer. Oh no, that's the Red Jet. You got the Red
Jet pilot.
Yeah, so I mean, just a lot of detail in here, but I mean, you can see as a coloring book, there's still a lot of room for you to color this in and make it your own. But
absolutely,
just got a lot of detail captured in it, though.
Yeah, when it's a big difference between the first book and the second book because I had an entire year and more time to work on these, so.
Well, and imagine after you kind of got back in the groove of it, of, putting them out on a regular basis, like there's probably something to that as well, just like being more comfortable with doing it on a regular basis.
Well, that and I was learning because it was all new to me. The tablet was new, I didn't even realize there was 100 different brushes that were like all this, for example, the stippling in the sand. I did, the first couple drawings I did with that, I was doing each individual dot with my pencil.
Ah, gotcha.
And then I found there's a brush that will do that for you.
Well, I'm guessing that some of these parts too, like I know we talk about with the figures, we talk about the tooling, right? Like once they've paid for the tooling, they're going to try to get the most they can out of it because they've already got those molds made. And I'm guessing that, it's not exactly the same, but I'm guessing there's something similar to the fact that like if you've already drawn a science officer, right? And then all of a sudden they give you the red jet and you're going to do the red jet. Well, essentially you're drawing the same parts because you're not coloring it in. And,
right.
you know, so you probably are getting more comfortable with the individual pieces, the individual gauntlets and arms and legs and heads.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Once you've drawn a knight's hand, and a knight's gauntlet, and you put that in 5 or 6 different drawings, it gets a little easier each time, you know.
For sure.
And same with the cosmic. If you look at the cog versus the red jet pilot, you know, you get kind of used to how those little layers on the fingers kind of lay.
Well, and like the cog and the other 2 Ox crew members, like we don't have those figures yet. Like those figures are not in hand. But
I was
drawing. You killed it.
I was.
Awesome.
I took a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
With displays, you know, and stuff when I would see them at Legions Con or at PowerCon or what have you, I took a lot of pictures.
That's
so
awesome.
I could, especially with the stuff that I didn't, you know, we didn't have in hand yet, because I wanted, if I was going to draw them, I wanted to draw them fairly accurate, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I noticed like little stuff, like if you look at cog, that centerpiece, I drew it as an oval. Well, that's actually a circle, you know, on the figure. But in my pictures, you know, I didn't get a good photo of what it actually was. So, you know, you live and you learn.
I mean, I think you did a great job of capturing that stuff, though. So, got a couple Vorgas here. And man, I mean, first of all, she's a cool figure. So there's that, right?
She's probably my favorite cosmic figure, other than the slug.
But you did a good job capturing her here in these two. Like the only complaint that I would have is that if you're gonna have her flexing a muscle, you got to have it on the other side with the tattoo. Come on, man.
Yeah. And then I should have taken the pauldron off. Was, you know, but that was I actually drew that kind of quick because Hal Seal threw out a challenge to make a Rosie the Riveter style Vorga.
Gotcha.
You know, so another one of those that I probably won't do anything with. I could have done much better on that.
Well, I think they're both cool. It's a cool character. I think you did a great job of capturing it. The one with the gun, like, man, all the details and like the clip that's going to the gun and everything, like
the magazine or the belt.
Yeah, it's just super cool, man.
And I'm telling you, man, I always appreciated Treadaway for the artist that he is and what he can do.
Yep.
But doing this put my appreciation on a whole nother for him and Cornboy, because Cosmic has a lot of Cornboy style in it.
Yeah,
the rivets, the screw heads, you know, that's all CV.
I know exactly what you mean because like with the slog, I didn't really. I mean, I liked the figure, but I didn't appreciate that figure as much as I could have until I painted it and realized that all those details were there. And it's one of the reasons I know we've been talking about the dragon, which is, you know, coming up. Actually, by the time this video drops, the dragon will be live. And, you know, I'm definitely painting that first dragon I get, like I get guaranteed. Because when you put a paintbrush to it, you get to notice all these details that your eye just doesn't capture until you're, you know, running a paintbrush over it. And I think it's something similar with what you're doing here, because you're trying to recreate all those individual details in these drawings. And it really makes you appreciate the amount of sculptural work that he does on these things. And
absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. And I wanted to make something that I could be proud of, but I also wanted to make something that might catch their eye.
For sure.
You know, because I appreciate their artistic ability.
Yeah.
You know, and if I was going to do something and actually ask them to be okay with it, I wanted to do the best I could possibly try to do. And if you think about it, think about that Vorga from Volume 1. The last page, that Vorga from Volume 1 doesn't hold a candle to this one. And it ended up, I actually colored this one in and made it the back cover of volume 2.
I mean, that's like me going back to my earliest customs and comparing my paint jobs.
It's
to
not
today.
even
That's
the
like,
same.
yeah, I mean, it's just going to get better. So,
yeah.
And then the last slide that I've got, this is my favorite. And
Of course it is. It was your idea.
well, I just, it's my favorite because it reminds me of us having that dinner together, right?
Yeah.
Like the, just, you know, a bunch of us
MuskeCon.
hanging out at MuskeCon, just at the hotel, getting a nice meal, hanging out, bullshitting, and then talking about this stuff. And at the time, this was just like, you're kind of toying around with the idea. And one of the things that you said was, hey, like without color, like how do you differentiate? How do you make this look like Walter, like the Walter the Mad figure? And I think you killed it, man. Like I think it's so good. Like first off, just the amount of details. Like as somebody that, you know, for the longest time, my favorite figure was the Sentry. And seeing all those details, like on the like tubing on the inside of the leg and all that kind of stuff, the individual bolts and stuff. I mean, you just did a great job of capturing all that. And then having this like floating out in space with the skull on it. Like it's so good. Like you did a great job on this thing.
Dude, when I threw the background on this one and really brought that figure into like a 3-dimensional space, I was like, wow, okay, we're on another level now, to the point where I'm so proud of this one. If you have a volume 2, look around. You will see Walter floating around.
I saw it today because okay, hold on. Let me put it back like this. So today, Darla did this Ziri, and then there's Walter in the background, right? And I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know he was there. And she's like, so I didn't, when she pulled out the page and I didn't see him. But then after she colored it, I was like, it's Walter. So yeah,
he's in that
around
book.
there.
Yeah, he's in that book 5-6 times.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the others. I'm gonna have to find it. But let me.
I did a whole Where's Walter.
Let's do
with volume 2.
This. There we go. So today I worked on this one. I worked on Elijah, my favorite character in the
This makes me so happy. This just makes me so happy.
It was so much fun, dude. I had a great time. So Darla even let me use her colored pencils, which is, you know, she did say though, she said, make sure you get them all back in the right spot. I was like, yeah, that's good. And then right before we got on, I was working on this one. I haven't finished this one yet, but this is
cool.
So like, this is where, like, as I was looking at it, I was like, I put some green on the torso here, green up here, put some other like red bits throughout that she doesn't have. Like she's a Legion builder, so she doesn't have as much of that. So
yeah, she's just basically a black figure. With
yeah. So as I'm doing that, I'm like, man, I kind of want to get out my engineer and paint, my engineer and paint some of these like little bits, and everything on here like corresponds to what's on the actual figure. Like this isn't stuff that you just kind of, you know, like threw in on your own. Like this is actual details that are in the figure, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, I wanted to make them as close to the original figures as I could.
Beautiful. So I know, you know, this is going to air right before MuskeCon, I think the week of MuskeCon, which is up in Michigan. So anybody that's watching this, March 21st is the Mythic meetup. March 22nd is the actual show. It's a Saturday. You will be there. You'll have your coloring books. So that would be a great place for people to get them. But
absolutely,
if they see this after MuskeCon, or maybe they see this but they can't make it to MuskeCon, what's a way for them to get their hands on one of these coloring books?
We're on Instagram at Dane Studios, and I'm in the Cabal. Shoot me a message. You know, private message is fine. We'll see what we can do to get one shipped out to you. I have shipped several of these. I have some prepaid USPS priority mail envelopes. They fit right in there. $10. You know, it's like 9 something now. So $10 to ship it out to you. It'll get to you in just a couple of days. And Won't be a problem. And I only have, I'm looking at 2 boxes left of volume 1. So there might be 30 or 40 copies of that. And the Cosmic one, because it's not quite as popular as Mythics, and I did realize that at Legions Con, I only did half the run. So where the volume 1 was like 200 or so books, there was only 100 of volume 2. And I probably have around 30 left of volume 2.
And you know, folks, remember, like he said, like, you know, as he got into volume 2, he's getting a little bit more used to it. Like, you know, it's nothing wrong with volume 1. Volume 1 is awesome, but volume 2 has a lot of details. Volume 2 is really cool. And what I would say is, like I said, I spent this morning just hanging out with my wife, you know, coloring in these things. It was super relaxing. You could use this to generate ideas for customs. You could use this if you're just trying to connect with your kid. Maybe you want to you want to color with your kid, but you also still want to think about Legions. Boom, here you go. You know, give them a nice color picture to color that you know, Cosmic Legion. Give them a little spaceman or something. You work on one, and you guys connect with one another. I think that would be super cool. But these things are awesome. If you're a Legions fan, you definitely need to have one of these, and trust me, you're going to have a lot of fun working in it. So hit up Dusty, be at the con if you can. MuskeCon is my favorite con of the year. It's absolutely, it's like Legions Con Light. It's like a smaller version, more intimate. You can spend more time with people. Nothing wrong with Legions Con. I love Legions Con.
It's Legions Con.
Yeah.
But it's one day and there's no chaos.
Yeah. And with the meetup, it kind of feels like 2 days, but it's only one day of actually working a show. So it's really nice.
And the Mythic meetup is a absolute blast.
Absolutely. So be there if you can. If you can't, hit up Dusty, get one of these coloring books. Heck, get both of them. You buy both of them. He'll make you a deal, I'm sure. You know, absolutely. Both of them. Plus you save on shipping if you have to ship it, you know, get them in the same envelope.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Dusty, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. And I'm going to put you backstage. If you've got to run, totally understand.
Before I go real quick, Curtis, I just want to say thank you for having me, and thank you for bringing attention to a lot of the guys in the community. This community is blessed to have you be a part of it.
Oh, shucks.
Online and in person. Curtis, you're a fantastic guy, online and offline. And we really appreciate you.
Don't be making me blush. Come on, man. I got a reputation.
You know we love you.
But I did want to show this. Hashtag Cabal Creations. It's not dead, folks. If you draw something, if you color something, you paint something, you do something digitally, whatever, hashtag Cabal Creations. Put that out there. We want to see what you come up with. We want to see these books colored. So
absolutely,
pages out. It's all right. You're not going to ruin it.
Nothing brings me more joy.
To be pulled out. You can pull these pages out. All right.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna put you backstage, and I will see you in just a bit.
MuskeCon.
See ya. All right, folks. That's another how they do that. Appreciate Dusty being on. Man, these things are a lot of fun. If you haven't seen these before, or you just haven't pulled the trigger, I'm telling you, you need to get one, if not both of these. I love them both. They're a lot of fun. And now that I realize that it can help me with my customizing, I'm going to be doing it even more. Heck, I may even do a couple on videos for you guys. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys at MuskeCon. I know there's going to be a lot of folks there. Over the past few weeks, I've had several different artists that were on the How They Do That are going to be at MuskeCon. We had Brian Lynn talking about some Dio stuff. We had Alexander Deshaw of Drunk Gizmo Customs, who's talking about, you know, his fountains and stables and all that kind of stuff. And now we just had Dusty on talking about the coloring books. So all three of those guys are going to be there with tables. They're going to all have stuff at MuskeCon, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we hope to see you there. Hope to see what you come up with on the Cabal Creations. And until next time, folks, keep creating.